Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2. Today we are in Turo Canyon. I'm going to give a quick reminder here to everybody. Please turn your autosaves on. I just had the game crash. I already recorded this and knew what I was going to do here. Game crashed. It was all gone. It was terrible. I was like 40 minutes in. But this is going to allow us to move a little bit quicker in this case now. So let us take these areas here. We really don't need that one. We're going to need these. That's about it that we're going to need. We're going to then place, which we need to buy this first because we do not have this. We're going to do the water. And then we come over here to, didn't we just buy that? There we go. So they come over the water, and we need the cargo port. So the cargo port gets placed, in and about right here or so. We need to turn that back on. Right about there. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly where I had it before because I had that little ledge going on. Okay, so now we need to take our 4-lane road and we're going to dial this bad boy in right there and then allow it to come along. I guess this would be the left side. Guess that's the left and the right that both have it. Okay. So we actually don't want to be... I wasn't that far out before. I moved this a little bit farther out. Which is fine. I mean, I'm not completely against it. But as you see, not everything always turns out the same way. Oh god. And we got left and the right. We only need to be up one. That's going to go to there. And to here. And then this needs all deleted, and this is going to actually tie in to that area there. So let's bring this back out here. And that's not what I want on that second placement there. Forget that it's continuous and it's not full on curve like I'm thinking it's going to be. Okay, so that makes this a little bit different than what I had going on last time, because there wasn't really a wall on the inside of that whenever I did it before. But we're going to take that off for here. This does need to be arranged in a way that probably isn't too enticing to people, which is underground and then up over on the other side here. So then we have a tuck through. We're actually probably going to need this square now that I'm looking at it. We're going to also have to take this out of here. And then throw some new power lines into this area. This is actually going to have to go as well, because we are going to be out in this area a little bit. So let's run this just right down here and tie that back in. So now we need to go over to the train station and throw a rail yard in here. The rail yard can sit right about this area. There was an autosave right there. And we're going to connect these rail lines back in. So let's take 4-lane road here. Might end up being 2-lane at one point, but right now it's going to be 4. And then this bad boy comes out here and just needs to get connected back up with that path that takes it underground to go underneath that and over to the rail yard. So there's going to be connections at some point going into this highway area or to here. This is also going to be something that comes out here like this. So we're going to have a 4-lane road that really comes out over the highway, then levels itself out at some point over here. As such, these two sides of the hill are pretty level. This chair is super squeaky today. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but I guess I'm going to lock it so I'm not squeaking as much anymore. But then from there, we're also going to need, once these train lines are all connected, we're going to also need something else here. So, and that something else is going to be a depot yard. And is one directional only, medium-sized depot for dispatch and maintenance of trains. Train cargo terminal non-electrified. There it is. There's the non-electrified train cargo terminal. Expandable with a second internal track, freely placeable external tracks, and loading stop. So there's a lot that can be placed onto here. What this needs, however, is to be set back very far from the train line. And I'll show you why here in a second. This is in my was that the train yard that made that noise? Yeah, that's definitely the train yard that made that noise. Sometimes I don't know if there's just like random noises going on outside my window and I'm just not hearing about them until I hear it feed back through my mic. But I also don't think my mic picks up as much sounds as I think it does, because there's definitely been a lot of times where I'm editing back through videos and I'm listening to myself go, oh, sorry about that noise or something. And I'm like, I didn't even hear it, so maybe I shouldn't even have brought it up. But this train rail has to sit back pretty far. And there is a, not too far, because we want to make sure, not too over that way. So we want to make sure there's a way to get in behind here in case we have to throw another one in here as such. So this needs a road, but this needs a one-way road. And the reason why I make this one-way is because, especially with the amount that we will be dealing with traffic-wise, this needs smoothed out before I do anything. So let's soften this. Once we have that all softened as such, we'll take that 2-lane road and bring it back in. So up like that, over like that, and I do it like that because we're going to mess with that here. And then this gets pulled off of this side. And we actually have a crossover that takes place. That's a little too wide whenever I do that. Okay. So that needs to be slightly tighter. Right there. And just straight on. Okay, so that fills that in. This also needs to be... Wish that wasn't so high pointed right there. Definitely. I keep thinking that these damn noises are inside the room. That needs to be a little less high pointed. We want to actually make this something to where... Can I extend this so it's not high pointed? Yep, right like that. And then... Oh my god, that's not going to do anything for me. That's just going to constantly be high pointed. Does this hold section delete? Yep. So let's take that again. Well, at least it has a rock wall on it now. So I guess I can be... No, that's because I put the wrong road down. Okay. It's alright. We'll figure this out eventually. Okay, so we're out and up. Out and up. Out and up. What about there? And right about there. Whatever, it just moved the high point back. But now I don't like it because there is a really long, obnoxious, no reason to be there bridge. So, we'll move it up a little bit. And we'll just connect that bad boy right in. And this will just high point in a different section, which will be the section that I high pointed at before. But what we do here, because we do not want any issues with traffic, we also throw something in there like that. And I do not like that whatsoever. Let's try this again. And that's the wrong wall again. I don't know why that keeps happening, how I keep getting to that whatsoever. And right like that. No, not right like that. That needs gone. Okay. Awesome. Okay, way better. So let's get to this intersection here. We do not want any walkways, crosswalks there. We want no crosswalks here. It's actually going to be no light here either, no light here either, and no light down here. And we're going to get rid of all these crosswalks as well. Reason for it is we're going to go into our lane connector tool and select these lanes, remove these U-turns and unsafes, and it's only going to be that one route that you're able to connect in through. So remove U-turns and unsafes, only that one way that you can connect into. And right here we're going to deselect this whatsoever. So this is going to turn into a one-way right here, and that's a one-way as well. This should just be a one-way from the start. So now this has no way to connect into here. That is completely false. We have this road. Very nice. Awesome. And this should just be a one-way as well the whole way. I don't know why I did this as a two lane. So let's just... And that's not what I wanted to do there. Okay. I don't know why this is not an elevated thing. Try to get that elevated again. Does this not go elevated? Do I like that elevated? Do better elevated, or do I want it? I think I want it left, right. Yeah. I think I like that a lot better, being that left, right. And then we also need the lane connector tool right here to tell me that we can do that route. Awesome. And then these two connect together, and then whenever you come over here, this is literally, okay, you can only flow into these lanes. You can't turn left here whatsoever. So let me make sure that we can remove all those. Awesome. So that is now taken care of, and we now just need to connect in our train lines. So we're going to go right here. These are going to be the two-way, one lane. And these are going to be not like that, I can tell you that. These are going to be here, like such. We'll just snap that in. And we'll get a nice big cement wall going on out here. And we'll get down to like about 1 as it sits here. And then as it goes up over into here, we'll do that. And that is a lot smoother than it was the first time around, so I'm actually very pleased with that. Let me see if I can get something. Yes, I'm completely pleased with that. I have no issues with it. Might be something where I raise the ground up on it, but definitely going to leave it so it has the wall on the outside here from the highway. Then we're going to do double train, one-way double track, one-way double train track, 4-lane alternating. Okay, so we want this one. And we want to go up. And from here, we don't want to be too in line with that. Because if we are too in line with that, oh no, not what we wanted. Yeah, not what we were really looking for there, so let's back this off a little bit. And let's try to... Yeah, that's a lot better. And then we got these two train lines that are going to go into here. So we got one. I don't know if that should be a 1 or a 2. That's going to be a 1 here. And then just want to keep it at 1 for as long as we're able to, but I also want it to match up a little bit when it comes to. So if we can get that to match up, that will be perfectly fine. Hopefully that train line works for that. There we go. Okay, so we got all those queued into there. And now we have all these which need to flow out in this direction. There was another autosave. I keep thinking my game's about to crash now because I got the autosave on. Which I don't understand why that wasn't something that just became standard as an on option with the game. Like I had to turn that on for some reason. I didn't think I was gonna have to turn on the auto saving feature. So there's all that there. And then we got this. And the reason why I set it back so far, not for the tie-ins, although I love the way that it ties in whenever you do it perpendicular like that, but just because the trains that are going to flow into this bad boy are absolutely long. Very long. Okay. So we go there, and there, there, and there, and then there, and there. Awesome. So now we have all those train cargo terminals going on like that. This should start releasing trains over in that direction. Some of them are super long, so whenever it pulls up in here and then it tries to go back and reverse out of here, whenever they run into each other, it doesn't do too well. Storage warehouse, so that goes on the outside. So can that actually... We want to go anarchy, but I guess that has to snap too. So you probably snap it in down there. There's also an extra rail line. For 35,000, I'm not terribly against an extra rail line, I can tell you that. So let me see here. Here. And this one. All the rails that go from that way can take that. These guys are just waiting to pull up in there now, I guess. And we could probably do this. Now I'm looking at this. We did not have the opportunity last time to do something like this before. See, everything happens for a reason. That's why I'm completely okay with my game having the crash that it went through. So now we get it here and then smooth it down in through there. So that actually allows us a little bit more going on. Okay, so it's saying no vehicles. There's definitely vehicles sitting there, so I don't know what to talk about. And the cargo port needs connected in too now. So let's take this and run a medium seaway. As such. And this one comes straight out here like that. And hopefully this doesn't get too backed up, but we'll take one port, go there and back, and the other port to go there and back. And there's two other ones, so there's definitely a high probability that this is going to need to have an extra port at some point, but we'll let her run the way that it is now. Okay. So there's all of that set in there, and I think the last thing that we're going to do after that autosave is run some more roads down through here. Just get this all completely situated. And now, like, once we get that set in there like that, I think there needs to be something that is a definite turnaround. And the reason why I'm putting this in play And we're going to get rid of that and those lights over there and all the pedestrian crossing. We want nothing to do with that. That should make it that it is just a flow through now. So that way any vehicles that are coming off this road can just hop right over here and get straight to the cargo port. Now we need to stay 10 lanes away. So 3, 6, 9. Right here would be the first time that we're able to put something down. And that's just because of the expansions that we could put on there. So we're going to grid this out now and get our production going on a little bit. So we have 16,000 coming in. I know that if we spend 260,000, we will double that up to about 30. So let me get that there, and then we will take the power line and just connect it straight in over there. I don't think you have to do that, but it might be a thing. So down to 10,000. $12.5. We should go to 30. I'm not sure why. 346,000 going out. 847,000 exports. That's at 12.5. That's all that added on there. Okay, so what we'll probably do is we bump the service fee up. Yeah, 8% is when citizens start losing happiness. Okay. So 114% there on the service fee. 23,000. Awesome. We are where we should be then. This is a little hilly inside of here. I'm not sure if I want to flatten this out or do something different with it. But we will save whatever we're going to do here for part 2. So we got our cargo terminal down. We got our train stations all located in. I mean, this little road system that we have going on here, I'm trying to make it as best as possible, especially because at some point there's going to be a ton of traffic that goes through here. Wish this really didn't have the dip that it had in it. I don't know if there's a way for us to fix that or not. Let me see. We can take this 4-lane. That humps the other way now. Don't want to do that either. So sort of I want to soften this terrain. And hopefully by softening this, I'm able to that is a lot better than it was before. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, that's completely running. I'm not sure if we're going to raise this grass and stuff up either. Let me see what happens if we do. So let's go here, level terrain, and we go right to there and just fill in this back here as such. Now that has an issue with me doing it. And then we'll take, I did not want to do that, but we can soften the terrain out here. Okay, so there's that, and then we want to soften the terrain up in here as well. And that should give us something a little bit more realistic whenever we're looking at it. Just things that are slightly popped up off the road. This still has the look that I want to it. Whenever you're coming down the highway, you just see the train track sitting up there. Something to glance at, and then the bridge that comes across. That's pretty much going to be our area for over here, because there's train tracks over here, so Might be another one of these or something sitting over here that we may need. Why is this acting like it doesn't have enough increased capacity for more trains? Oh, that adds another line completely. So luckily I didn't place it as close as we should have. Unique lines, 50,000. Let's run them just before we're done with everything else. Let's just get that taken care of. So we'll come here, float it in, float it out. I mean, as long as we're keeping the floatability right there, I mean, I have no issues with it. We're able to connect in over to that side as well then at that point. So my packages are taking ages to arrive again, so we may have to do something dealing with the post office service here soon. So there's, like, look how absolutely ridiculously long this train is. This train is absolutely insanely long. It's still coming out of the depot. But like, this is a true American train here. I really do like that. So this feature pack that I do have dialed up and everything is very nice. So what I'm also realizing too at this point is the reason why it's saying that is because I have all of these set to the left side. So I wish there was a way. I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments if there is a way for me to run the lines that are already ran to different cargo terminals. So we'll have those go up into there. So hopefully that allows it to be something different than at that point. So that train's pulling out of there, but that train is absolutely massive. This is the end of it here. That is the end of the train there, and he is always out there. That's absolutely just massive. So we do got the train line in, we got the cargo terminal in, and it has been a pretty decent day, I will say. I mean, there's going to be a few more things that do need to be added in or changed over here, because this is a pretty bland area as it sits. But the infrastructure is to the point where we sort of need it to be. Everything's connected in and allows us to start creating shipments. I think the next thing that we're going to do is grid out all of that over there to throw in our industrial buildings. And then we will see about, that just is showing me the water because it wants to show me the water. We're also going to have to see about connecting this part of the highway into this road system here, because we want, and it might be something dealing with this crossover here, but we want something that allows our trains and everything to get traffic to them from the highway without people having to travel through the city. So we'll figure those out in the next episode. Other than that, thank you guys for joining along, starting our industrial section. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.